unaware the wife he divorced, after her parents died, was about to inherit a $300 million empire. Husband ran to marry her best friend. What she did next crushed them. He didn't just leave her. He had quietly filed for divorce even before the funeral, then handed her the papers only days after she buried her parents, standing in the middle of their quiet home, telling her she was too broken to live with. Then he walked out, not into loneliness, but straight into the arms of her best friend. That evening, Emily Carter could barely hold the pen. 30 years old, eyes red from crying, she stared at the documents shaking in her hands. Her husband, Daniel, stood across from her, expression cold and impatient as if he were the victim. "I can't do this anymore," he said. "Your grief, your family, all of it. I need peace. Peace." Behind him, her best friend Lauren Summers, bold, stylish, always too comfortable in Emily's space, waited by the door, pretending to be supportive, hiding the truth they thought Emily would never discover. Daniel believed he was trading a burdensome wife for an easier life, a happier woman, a cleaner start. He thought Emily was now alone, no parents, no real money, no power, just a broken heart and an empty house. What he didn't know was this: the parents he dismissed as old-fashioned had quietly built an empire, and the daughter he called too emotional was about to inherit all of it. While Daniel was busy emptying their joint account and rushing into a new wedding with Lauren, Emily sat in a law office, listening as her parents' lawyer calmly explained, "Your family's estate is valued at nearly $300 million, and it's all in your name. This is not just a story about a man who left and a friend who betrayed. It's about what happens when the woman they abandoned decides not to stay broken, but to act." Dear viewers, thank you for being here. If you watch without subscribing, it's like letting Emily's story disappear the way they hoped it would. When you click that button, you stand with every quiet soul who chose dignity over despair. Please subscribe now, and in the comments, share where you're watching from. The moment the scene opens, Emily Carter is already moving fast, almost running as she reaches for a fragile glass vase sliding toward the edge of her hallway table. Her heart races as she catches it at the last second, fingers trembling around the cool glass. The tiny disaster she just avoided echoes too loud in the quiet house. When the vase settles, the truth sits with it. Emily is always the one saving things before they fall apart. Emily is 30 years old, gentle-looking but strong in quiet ways. She has soft eyes that trust too easily, and a face that tries to hide how tired she often feels. She grew up in a close, disciplined family, raised by parents who believed in grace, kindness, responsibility. Her parents, Richard and Margaret Carter, ran what everyone thought was a small but solid business. The outside world saw a modest company. Emily saw long hours, careful decisions, and a quiet, steady growth she never fully measured. Her parents never flaunted anything. They drove normal cars, lived in a nice but not flashy house, and ate at the same local restaurant every Friday. Emily assumed they were simply comfortable. She never looked deeper into the numbers. She trusted that they managed everything with wisdom, the way they always did. She moves through her own home now, straightening the things Daniel left out of place: shoes in the middle of the hallway, a jacket thrown over a chair, dishes left on the coffee table. Daniel Carter, her husband, 32, is handsome, charming, and used to life bending to his comfort. He works in sales, always talking about closing deals and big clients, dressing like success is already guaranteed. On and the outside, he looks like the one in control. Inside their home, Emily quietly knows that isn't true. She reminds him of appointments. She pays the bills on time. She makes sure their joint account doesn't overdraft when he forgets a purchase. She smooths over conflicts he creates when he speaks too sharply to friends or family. She carries the emotional weight that keeps their life from tipping over. Daniel never asks for these things. He doesn't have to. He knows Emily will do them before he even notices they're needed. The garage door beeps twice. Without knocking, Lauren Summers walks inside. Lauren is Emily's childhood best friend, the same age as her, and practically grew up in the Carter house. She enters with easy confidence, typing in the garage code like she lives there. Lauren is bold, outspoken, always dressed like she's heading somewhere important. She gives Emily a bright smile that doesn't ask permission to exist there. "Hey, Em," Lauren calls, dropping her purse on the counter. Emily smiles warmly. "Good morning, Lauren." To Emily, This is normal. Lauren has always come and gone freely. But that tiny moment walking in without knocking, dropping her things on the counter like it belongs to her, shows how much space Lauren takes up in Emily's world. More space than a friend should. And Emily, because of her kind nature, never sees that imbalance. As Lauren walks toward the kitchen, Emily's mind flashes back to another moment. College finals week. Books scattered all over Lauren's tiny dorm room. Emily sits cross-legged on the floor, patiently helping Lauren understand concepts she'd already mastered days ago. Lauren groans and flops back dramatically. "You're a machine, Em," she laughs. "You don't even try and still get it." Emily just smiles and keeps explaining. Then Daniel's name pops up on Emily's phone. Back then, he was the new boyfriend with the charming smile and big promises. Emily remembers showing Lauren the engagement ring a year later, her cheeks flushed with joy. Lauren smiled big, loud, playful, but her eyes lingered on the ring with something else underneath. A tightness. A flicker of something that wasn't happiness. Emily didn't notice it then, but now, the memory floats up, like a tiny warning she never understood. Another memory folds in, softer, older. The night before Emily's wedding, her mother stands in her childhood bedroom, holding a small velvet box. The house smells like flowers and baking and fresh perfume. Margaret's eyes are warm but serious. "We're not giving you the real things yet," her mother says gently, brushing a strand of hair behind Emily's ear. "That will come when you're older. But here's a reminder that our family built more than memories." Inside the box is a delicate necklace with the family crest. Simple, subtle, not flashy enough to scream wealth, but personal enough to mean something. Emily had smiled, thinking it was just sentimental. She never realized her mother was hinting at something much bigger. Back in the present, Emily touches that necklace at her throat, a habit she doesn't even notice anymore. She believes loyalty is who she is. She gives more than she takes. It makes her feel grounded, purposeful. She trusts Daniel. She trusts Lauren. She trusts because it never really crossed her mind that the people closest to her could want something other than her love. The doorbell rings suddenly, sharp and unexpected. At the same exact moment, her phone vibrates in her hand. She looks at the screen. Her father's name flashes. Her father almost never calls this early. He usually texts first or waits until late afternoon when she's off work. The phone keeps vibrating. The doorbell rings again. An uneasy stillness settles over the house. Emily lifts the phone to her ear. Before she can say a word, the screen freezes on her shocked face. Everything I thought was stable, was about to break. And somewhere in the back of her mind, that velvet box memory flickers again, quiet, soft, and heavier than she ever realized. The moment Emily answers the phone, the scene explodes into intensity. There's chaos on the other end. A loud crash, rushed footsteps, overlapping voices, the distant beep of hospital machines. Her father's name is on the screen, but the voice that finally speaks isn't his. "Hello? Dad?" Emily's voice shakes. "Dad?" A stranger answers, breathless and steady at the same time. "Ma'am, this is Dr. Harris from Memorial General. Are you Emily Carter?" Emily's stomach drops. "Yes." "What's wrong? What happened? Are my parents okay?" There is a pause. Not because the doctor doesn't know what to say, but because he knows exactly what it will do to her. "I'm so sorry," he says quietly. "Your parents were in a serious accident early this morning. We did everything we could. They didn't make it." The world stops. The living room around her, the soft morning light, the neat furniture she just straightened, the faint smell of coffee turns distant and unreal. The sound leaves the room. The only thing she hears is his last sentence repeating in her head. "They didn't make it. They didn't make it. They didn't." Her knees buckle. The phone slips from her fingers and hits the floor. A sound rips out of Emily's chest, raw, broken, almost animal. A sound she has never made before and never imagined she could. Lauren rushes in from the kitchen, startled by the noise. Daniel appears from the hallway, half dressed for work, his expression shifting from annoyance to confusion to alarm. "Emily?" Daniel asks. "What's going on?" Emily can't answer. She folds in on herself, shaking on the floor, hands pressed over her mouth as if she could hold the grief inside. Lauren drops down beside her, grabbing her shoulders. "Em, talk to me. What happened?" The doctor's voice, still faintly audible on the fallen phone, fills the silence. Miss Carter? Are you still there? I'm so sorry. Lauren reaches for the phone with trembling fingers and lifts it to her ear, listening just long enough to understand. Her face pales. Her parents, Lauren whispers to Daniel. They're gone. The intensity gradually softens into a heavy, suffocating stillness. Time blurs over the next few days. Emily sits in a stiff chair at the hospital, signing release forms she barely reads. She meets with a funeral director who speaks gently about caskets and flowers while she stares at his moving lips, hearing nothing. She stands in her parents' house, now strangely quiet, as relatives move in and out carrying dishes, tissues, and condolences. Daniel is there, but from a distance. He stands with his arms crossed, talking more about the time he's missing from work than the lives that were lost. Emotional comfort was never his. Strength. He offers her a stiff shoulder, a pat on the back, glances at his phone when he thinks she isn't looking. Lauren is closer. She sits beside her, holds her when she cries, brings her coffee she barely drinks. She whispers, "I'm here. I won't leave you," over and over. But sometimes, when Emily's sobs quiet and she stares at the floor, the camera lingers on Lauren's face. On the way, her eyes shift. On the flicker of guilt or calculation, she quickly masks. Grief pulls Emily into memories. 9-year-old Emily sits on a tall chair in her father's office, her feet not touching the floor. Her father slides charts across the desk, simple numbers, small graphs. "This is how our business works," he says kindly. "We buy smart, we save, we think long-term." He taps a desk drawer and locks it with a small key. "This," he adds, "stays closed until you're ready. Your mother and I wrote something important for your future." Young Emily doesn't ask what it is. She just nods, trusting that whatever her parents decide is right. A family event in their backyard. Her mother pulls her aside, away from the noise. The evening light softens her face. "This family built something worth protecting," her mother says. "Not just money, reputation, trust, a name. One day, it will all be yours to look after." Emily remembered laughing gently, brushing it off. She never imagined what all truly meant. Back in the present, those memories now press on her, heavier than the grief itself. In the quiet of her bedroom, after arranging the final details of the funeral, Emily curls on the bed, clutching the necklace with the family crest. Tears slip down her cheeks silently this time. There are no more screams left, only a dull ache and the weight of everything she has lost. Daniel stands by the doorway, watching. He doesn't come closer. "I'm sorry," he says softly, as if the words cost him something. "I don't know what else to decree. Say." Emily barely hears him. Lauren sits near the foot of the bed, rubbing Emily's ankle through the blanket. "You still have us," she whispers. Emily's voice is faint. "I don't know what I'd do without you both." Lauren's jaw tightens for just a second, a tiny revealing crack. The scene quiets. Later that night, after the hospital's final message with details about the accident and paperwork, Emily's phone buzzes again. This time, the preview shows a different sender, a professional-looking email address, followed by a short line. "Miss Carter, it's urgent we speak about your parents' estate." At the bottom of the preview, a small attachment icon appears, a document waiting, unopened, for the moment she can finally face it. It's 3 nights after the funeral. Emily jerks awake in the middle of the night, heart pounding, because she hears something slam downstairs. A door, then hurried footsteps. For a split second, her half-asleep mind thinks it might be her father coming home late like he sometimes did after long meetings. Then reality hits her like cold water. Her parents are gone. She rushes to the top of the stairs, breath quick and shallow. From the darkness below, she hears Daniel's voice, low, sharp, not meant for her. She stays in the shadow of the hallway, hidden from view. Daniel stands in the living room, illuminated by the glow of his phone screen. Usually, he moves through life with easy confidence. Right now, his shoulders are tight, his jaw clenched. He paces in a small circle, one hand pressed to his forehead. "I told you not tonight," he hisses into the phone. She barely sleeps. "I can't just disappear whenever you want." A pause. "No, I said I'll text you. Not now." His tone is frustrated, almost scared, not of Emily's feelings, but of being caught. Before Emily can step forward, he ends the call abruptly and shoves the phone into his pocket. His eyes flick toward the stairs as if he feels someone watching. Emily slips back into the bedroom just in time, sliding under the blanket and closing her eyes, forcing her breathing to slow. A moment later, Daniel comes in. The mattress dips as he lies down beside her. A little too careful, a little too quiet. She stares at the ceiling in the dark. Her heart is no longer racing from fear, it's beating fast from something else. Confusion, unease, the first thin crack in the trust she's always given freely. Morning comes, heavy and slow. Emily moves through the house like she's walking underwater. There are condolence flowers on every surface, sympathy cards stacked on the table, a calendar filled with appointments, the lawyer who emailed, the bank, the estate manager, the final meeting with the funeral home. She hears Daniel behind her. He's already dressed, tie crooked, hair still damp from a rush shower. "I need to head to work," he announces, reaching for his keys. Emily turns, surprised. "Today? You said your boss gave you some time." He avoids her eyes. "It's an emergency, big client. I don't have a choice. That's how sales works, Em. You know that." It's true. This isn't the first time Daniel has had a last-minute meeting. He's always said his job is unpredictable, that important deals don't wait. Still, the timing stings. Her parents have just been buried, her world is shattered, and he is already stepping back into his old rhythm. She swallows hard. "Okay, just don't be too late." "Yeah," he mutters, already halfway to the door. The moment it closes, the house feels even emptier. A few minutes later, the garage keypad beeps twice. Lauren walks in, carrying coffee and a small bag of pastries. She says softly, setting everything down. "You should eat." Emily forces a small smile. "You don't have to keep coming every day." "I know," Lauren answers quickly. "I want to," but her phone buzzes on the counter. Lauren glances at it too fast, as if afraid Emily will see. A new message pops up. D, just the initial. Lauren turns the screen face down and reaches for a mug, overacting her casualness. "Milk or black?" "Milk," Emily whispers. They sit at the dining table. Lauren talks too much about traffic, about a mutual friend's new baby, about a series she's watching. Emily nods, but her mind drifts away. She keeps seeing her father in his office, the locked drawer, the email from the lawyer she hasn't answered yet. Later that afternoon, needing air, Emily steps outside. The neighbor across the street, Mr. Harris, retired and kind, always watering his plants, waves to her gently. "I'm so sorry about your parents, Emily," he says. "They were good people." "Thank you," she replies. Her voice is thin. He hesitates, then adds, "I thought I'd see you last night. I saw Daniel at the diner and assumed you were with him." Emily frowns. "At the diner?" "Yes. Late, around 9. He was sitting in a corner booth with someone. I didn't want to intrude." Emily's throat tightens. I was home." The neighbor looks puzzled. "Oh, must have been a work thing then." He shrugs kindly and goes back to his plants, unaware of the storm he's just started without meaning to. Emily walks back into the house, her hands shaking. The grief and confusion inside her begin to twist together into something new. Suspicion. She hates the way it feels. She doesn't want to think of her husband as someone she has to question. She reminds herself that he's under stress too. That work has always been demanding, but the maybes don't calm her anymore. That evening, she picks up one of Daniel's suit jackets from the back of a chair, intending to hang it properly. As she lays it on the bed, something small slips from the inside pocket and lands on the carpet. A card. Emily bends down and picks it up. It's a hotel key card. The name of a mid-range hotel printed. Clearly on the front, a place she knows is across town. Nowhere near his office, nowhere near any client he's ever mentioned. Not a business card, not a gym pass. Nothing she can explain away. Her heart slams against her ribs. Her fingers tighten around the card. Before she can process what it means, the scene cuts sharply, lingering on her trembling hand. From the kitchen, Daniel's phone buzzes on the counter, and the screen lights up with the same initial that flashed on Lauren's earlier, D. Emily slams her car door and pulls out of the driveway, so fast the tires screech against the pavement. Her hands grip the steering wheel until her knuckles turn white. Her breathing comes in short, uneven bursts. The hotel key card she found an hour ago is still in her pocket, a sharp rectangle pressing against her leg as if it's trying to force the truth into her. On the front of the card, the hotel's name is printed in bold letters. She remembers seeing that same name on a bank alert months ago, an unexplained charge Daniel brushed off as a team dinner. She'd believed him. Now the charge and the key line up like two cruel puzzle pieces snapping into place. Please let me be wrong, she whispers to herself. Please, just this once, let me be wrong. The city lights blur past as she drives. The night outside is thick and dark, the streets almost empty. The wind beats against the car like it wants to push her back. But nothing can stop her. When she reaches the hotel parking lot, she parks crooked and doesn't bother fixing it. She steps out before the engine fully shuts off, her legs shaky but moving. The lobby is bright and calm, completely opposite from the storm inside her chest. She walks straight to the elevator, the key card clutched so tightly in her hand she could snap it. As she moves, her mind slows and drifts into painful reflection. Memories come at her in flashes. 16-year-old Emily and Lauren on the Carter porch swing, sharing secrets and plans. Lauren talking about stealing Emily's life for a day because her house was always warmer, always safer. Lauren at the wedding, catching the bouquet. Everyone laughing. The camera catching that moment where Lauren's smile seemed a little too wide, her eyes a little too sharp. Daniel on their wedding night, cupping her face and whispering, "I will always choose you, Emily. Always." Those promises feel like lies now, echoing in the elevator as it rises floor by floor. The elevator dings. Emily steps into the hallway. The carpet muffles her footsteps. The air feels heavy. Her eyes scan the door numbers until she finds it. Room 214. The same number printed on the tiny sleeve that came with the key. Her chest tightens. From the other side of the door, she hears faint movement. Then a laugh. A woman's laugh. Light. Familiar. Lauren's. Emily freezes. For a moment, her feet refuse to move. Then Daniel's voice floats through the door. Muffled but unmistakable. Her world tilts. Her fingers shake as she lifts the key card. She almost drops it. She leans her forehead against the door for a second, eyes squeezed shut, begging the universe to tell her this is a misunderstanding, a coincidence. But the voices keep drifting through the wood. She swallows hard, pushes the card into the slot, and hears the soft click of the lock. The door opens. What she sees on the other side confirms everything the cracks had been trying to show her. Lauren gasps, color draining from her face. Her hair is messy, her makeup smeared. She's wrapped in one of the hotel's white sheets, clutching it to her chest like it can hide what she's done. Daniel turns, his bare chest exposed, his expression collapsing from relaxed satisfaction to complete panic in a single heartbeat. "Emily?" He breathes. She takes one step inside. Just one. But it feels like stepping off a cliff. Her voice breaks. "You both. After everything I've just been through?" Silence. Emily's eyes move between the two people she trusted most in the world. The friend who promised she'd never leave her. The husband who vowed to choose her always. Memories slam against her. Lauren hugging her at the funeral. Daniel whispering on the phone late at night. The unexplained hotel charges. The neighbor's comment about the diner. The hushed messages marked with a single initial D. All of it rearranges itself into a clear, brutal picture. Daniel takes a step forward, hands raised like he's calming a client. "Emily, listen. This isn't—" "Don't," she whispers. "Don't say it's not what I think. I can see exactly what it is." Her voice is fragile but sharp. Every word slices both of them. Lauren's eyes fill with tears. Whether from shame or fear, it's impossible to tell. "Emily, please. I didn't mean—" Emily cuts her off with a look. She turns, every muscle shaking. She can't stay in that room. The air feels poison. She walks back into the hallway, leaning against the wall for balance. Tears spill down her face, but there's no sobbing now, just quiet, stunned devastation. Cliffhanger. Her phone buzzes in her hand. She looks down, expecting another call from Daniel she'll ignore. Instead, an unknown number flashes on the screen with a message. "Emily, we need to talk. It's urgent about your parents' estate and your legal position." Beneath the text is a small PDF icon labeled Preliminary Instructions, Carter Family Trust. It's 4 days after the funeral. 2 days after the hotel, Emily stands in her living room, still wearing the same sweats she drove to the hotel in. Her body feels hollow. Her eyes are swollen and dry now. She's cried so much that even the tears are tired. Her phone lights up again and again with Daniel's name. Missed calls. Voicemails she doesn't listen to. Texts swinging between apologies and blame. She doesn't answer any of them. Then the front door swings open. Daniel strides in without knocking, jaw tight, papers tucked under his arm. There's no soft apology in his eyes, no real remorse. Only irritation and a strange cold urgency. "Emily, we need to talk," he says sharply. The words land like a punch. She doesn't move. She doesn't welcome him. She just stands there, fingers wrapped around her mother's necklace. He sets the papers on the table. "I can't do this anymore. Your grief, your breakdowns, the constant crying. I need peace. I've already talked to a lawyer." She stares at him, stunned. "My parents just died. You cheated on me while I was burying them." Daniel flinches, but instead of shame, something defensive flashes across his face. "You shut me out," he snaps. "You weren't connecting with me. You were drowning in your emotions, and I was supposed to keep my life moving. I need someone who doesn't drag me down." Lauren's voice, quiet and cautious, comes from the doorway. "Daniel." Emily's head snaps toward her. Lauren steps inside as if she's been waiting outside for a signal to enter. She looks concerned, but there's a stiffness in her posture, like she's braced for impact. "I didn't want to come," Lauren says softly, "but he said it'd be better if everything was clear." Emily's heart twists. "Clear?" Her voice cracks. "What's not clear? You two made it very clear in that hotel room." Daniel runs a hand through his hair. "This marriage hasn't worked for a long time, Emily. You know that. Your parents always treated me like I wasn't good enough. Like I was just some salesman lucky to be in their daughter's life." Emily remembers little moments her father asking Daniel polite but firm questions about long-term plans. Her mother suggesting they save more and spend less. Daniel laughing it off, saying, "Relax, we're young," before rolling his eyes when their backs were turned. She never thought much of it. Daniel's resentment had been growing quietly in the background. "And now," Daniel continues, his voice bitter, "they're gone, and it's like I'm supposed to carry all this weight while you fall apart. I can't live under their shadow anymore." "You were never under their shadow," Emily whispers. "They were just trying to help us be stable." Lauren steps closer to Daniel, hand brushing his arm. "You deserve someone who understands you, Daniel. Someone who matches your energy." Her tone is soft, but every word slices Emily open. Daniel takes a breath, then nods toward the stack of papers. "I filed for divorce last week, before the funeral. My lawyer rushed it because of everything. All that's left is your signature. Once you sign, we can all move on." The floor seems to tilt beneath Emily. "You filed? Before the funeral?" She repeats, numb. He doesn't deny it. She looks down at the papers. Legal. Words blur together, but certain lines stand out. Petition for dissolution. Irreconcilable differences. Proposed division of assets. The proposed division is painfully clear. He keeps most of what's in their joint account in shared investments. She gets the least complicated, least valuable pieces. He's already emptied out almost everything he can move without her consent. Her parents' estate isn't listed anywhere. He hasn't mentioned it once, which tells her one thing. He has no idea what is really coming. Emily's hand shakes as she picks up the pen. She could fight. She could argue. She could drag this out in court. But right now she has nothing left to fight with. No strength, no trust. Just a broken heart and a quiet email from a lawyer about her parents' estate waiting unanswered in her inbox. She signs. Her tears fall onto the page, smudging the ink slightly. Daniel snatches the papers the moment she lifts the pen. "Good," he says, relief, flooding his voice. "We'll get this processed. It's better this way." Better for whom? Emily doesn't ask. She walks toward the hallway, needing to be anywhere but there. She stops when she hears them behind her. Daniel leans in toward Lauren, voice low. "We're finally free," he murmurs. "No more drama. No more expectations." Lauren lets out a soft laugh. "Now we can actually build something. Our way." The words twist in Emily's chest. The scene freezes for a moment on her face shattered. Yes, but somewhere deep in her eyes, a faint spark lights up. Not hope, not yet. Something harder. Something that looks very close to resolve. Micro cliffhanger. As Emily steps outside, her phone buzzes. A new message from the same unknown number as before. It's time she knew everything. Please come to my office tomorrow. Harold Reynolds, attorney for the Carter family. Attached to the message is a clearer, renamed file. Final instructions, Carter family. Trust, for Emily, only. Emily pushes open the large glass doors of the law office so hard the receptionist flinches. Her chest is tight, her eyes tired from too many sleepless nights, her hands trembling around her phone. She's surviving on numb momentum, and the last clear thing in her mind, it's time she knew. Harold Reynolds, attorney for the Carter family. And just below it, that attached file with her family name on it. Her eyes scan the room. A man rises from a corner office. Older, tall, calm. There's a steadiness about him that cuts through the fog around her. Miss Carter? He asks gently. Emily nods. I'm Harold Reynolds, he says. Your parents' attorney. I've worked with them for over 20 years. Please come in. The intensity softens as Emily steps into his office. The room is quiet and precise. Shelves lined with leather-bound books, framed certificates on the walls, a large wooden desk at the center. On that desk sits a thick folder, sealed with a wax stamp bearing her family crest, the same crest on the necklace around her neck. Emily stops, staring at it. Her throat tightens. Mr. Reynolds gestures to the chair in front of him. Your parents gave very clear instructions, he says softly. They wanted this meeting to happen only after both of them passed, and after you turned 30. Her voice is small. My birthday was 2 months ago. He nods. Yes, they were very deliberate about the timing. He breaks the seal and opens the folder. Emily watches, hardly breathing. Your parents did not just run a small business, Emily. Mr. Reynolds begins. His tone is careful, respectful. They built a holding structure, multiple companies, real estate portfolios, patents, long-term investments. For years, they kept the public appearance modest on purpose. Emily frowns. I never saw any of that. They lived so normal. That was intentional, he says. They didn't want wealth to define your character. They wanted you to grow up kind, grounded, and independent. He slides a printed overview across the desk. One number jumps out at her before she can take in anything else. Total estimated estate value, $298,400,000. Her heart stops. The room tilts for a second. This can't be right, she whispers. They ran a family business. A few properties. That's all. They used that business as a quiet engine, Mr. Reynolds explains. They reinvested profits, acquired other companies through holding entities, expanded into licensing and intellectual property. Most of it is held in trusts and companies under non-obvious names, so they wouldn't draw attention. Emily stares at the page, tears blurring the numbers. Her parents hadn't been just comfortable. They'd been quietly building something enormous for decades. She remembers her father teaching her how to read basic charts at 12, tapping the lines with a Brenning-Bein patient fingertip. These aren't just numbers, he told her. They are decisions, and one day, you'll have to make them too. She remembers her mother at that family event squeezing her hand. This family built something worth protecting, she'd said. Someday it will be your turn to protect it. Emily had smiled then, thinking it was about values. Now she finally understands it was also about assets. Mr. Reynolds continues, laying it out plainly. Your parents placed the bulk of their assets into a trust, he says. The trust becomes fully active and under your control when two conditions are met, your 30th birthday and the passing of both of them. He looks at her kindly. Both conditions have now been met. As of the date of their passing, you are the primary and sole beneficiary and controlling trustee. Emily's fingers dig into the armrests. Everything is in my name? She asks. Yes, he answers. Legally and structurally. We've already begun transferring operational control to you in the background. Publicly, almost nothing has changed yet. That was also part of their strategy. But on paper, you now own and control nearly $300 million worth of assets. She feels tears spill over. But this time it isn't the grief alone. It's the weight of trust. They never told me, she says, voice trembling. Not like this. They just taught me to be good, to be careful, to be loyal. Mr. Reynolds nods. They didn't want you to have power without preparation. They spent years shaping your character first. He reaches into the folder and pulls out a smaller sealed envelope, older, edges slightly worn. There is one more thing, he says. Your father asked me to give you this only if someone ever tried to harm you or take advantage of you emotionally, financially, or legally. Emily's eyes widen. He said that? Yes, Mr. Reynolds replies. He was very specific. I contacted you now because, based on recent filings and activity around your accounts, I believe that condition has been met. Her mind flashes with images. Daniel sliding divorce papers across the table. Lauren standing behind him. The hotel room. The emptying joint account. The feeling of being discarded. She reaches for the envelope with shaking hands. On the front, in her father's handwriting, are the words, "For Emily when trust breaks." Cliffhanger. Her fingers slide under the seal. Just before she opens it, Mr. Reynolds adds quietly, "Your parents suspected you might one day need protection from people who love the idea of you more than you." Inside, waiting just beyond the torn flap, are documents that don't just reveal what she owns. They reveal who has been circling her, and for how long. The moment Emily closes her apartment door behind her, she doesn't even take off her shoes. She drops her bag, moves straight to the small table, and rips open the envelope labeled "When Trust Breaks." Papers spill out, printed emails, bank records, screenshots, investigation reports, notes in her father's handwriting. Her heart races, her breathing turns sharp. Everything her parents left her is not just wealth, it's information, protection, prepared defense. She grabs the first page. At the top is a header, "Independent Report," subject, "Daniel Carter." Below that, a date from 2 years ago. Her chest tightens. 2 years ago, long before the accident. The report is from a private investigator her parents hired after noticing unusual financial behavior and entitlement patterns from Daniel. They hadn't told her not yet. They'd decided to watch first, to be fair. Emily scans the lines. Conversations where Daniel complained about not getting a piece of the family business. Moments he'd hinted to others that Emily would be rich one day, even though she didn't know it. Instances where he tested boundaries with small, unauthorized withdrawals from accounts he had partial access to. Her hands shake. She picks up another page. A printed email. From Lauren Summers to Daniel Carter, date 1 year ago. She's too emotional, too easy to steer. She won't even see it coming if we plan things right. Emily covers her mouth, a broken sound catching in her throat. Her parents hadn't hacked Lauren's inbox themselves. That would have been illegal. But the report explains, through a security consultation and consent-based monitoring of family-associated devices and shared financial platforms, external investigators obtained evidence of conversations routed through shared cloud backups and linked accounts. Technical, clinical, but clear. Lauren had used one of Emily's shared devices once to log into her email years ago. She'd never logged out completely. Her father's security consultant had built quiet alerts after that. Her parents never confronted Emily with this. They documented it. They prepared. The intensity slowly folds into something colder. Emily sinks into the chair. The room falls quiet around her. The pain doesn't scream anymore. It condenses into a focused, sharp line. She spreads all the documents across the table. The black folder from Mr. Reynolds sits open beside them, full of trust schedules and company charts. Next to it, this envelope's contents. Maps of betrayal. She starts to work. First, she studies the empire. For days, she lives on tea and simple meals. She barely leaves the apartment unless necessary. She goes through every file her parents set aside for her training videos her father recorded, memos her mother wrote about how to treat employees with fairness, risk summaries, lists of trusted advisors. At one point, she pauses a video of her father explaining how to spot people who love your access more than they love you. She realizes he recorded it years ago. For her, she writes things down. She highlights. She calls Mr. Reynolds with focused questions. What exactly can a trustee do? What are my rights if my ex-husband misused joint funds? What happens if someone accessed my name for a loan without my informed consent? He answers patiently, sometimes impressed by how fast she's absorbing everything. Then she turns fully to Daniel and Lauren. She prints her bank statements and cross-checks them with the investigator's records. She identifies patterns. Unauthorized charges to hotels, cash withdrawals near places she's never been. A small personal loan taken out 6 months ago that she never signed in person, but that used pre-authorized digital documents linked to her name. She doesn't cry now. She prints out messages between Daniel and Lauren from the report, texts mocking her meltdowns, comments about how she won't fight because she hates conflict, plans for a life once everything is in place. Then she discovers something she didn't expect. Her parents had already rewritten their documents a year ago. In the notes in her father's handwriting, if Daniel continues to show this pattern, Emily must be protected from any claim he could try to make on the estate. They had already taken him out of any future benefit. Quietly, cleanly, legally. She was the only heir. And they never told Daniel. Logic anchored, Emily organizes everything into a new black folder. Investigator reports bank statements showing misuse of joint funds. Records of the loan opened under her name's pre-authorization. Screenshots of Lauren's messages that used Emily's devices and accounts as a bridge. Her parents' written notes about protecting her from Daniel. She sets a meeting with Mr. Reynolds. In his office, she's different now. Not the shattered woman from the hotel, not the hollow figure from the funeral. She walks in wearing a simple but sharp outfit, nothing flashy, but intentional. Her posture is straight. Her eyes are calm in a way that makes them more dangerous than any angry shouting could. Mr. Reynolds opens the folder she places on his desk. He reads page by page, bank statements, investigation results, emails, loan documentation, recorded patterns. His eyebrows rise, then knit, then settle. This is substantial, he says quietly. Emily's voice is soft but steady. They thought I had nothing, that I would just sign whatever they put in front of me. They used my grief to make their exit look clean. She takes a breath. They don't know I own everything now, and they don't know I have this. He closes the folder gently, almost like it's something fragile and powerful at the same time. Emily, he says carefully, if we file this, they won't just lose money. Their reputations, their future credit, their chances with employers, their freedom, depending on what the prosecutors see, could sound, be affected. She doesn't look away. They made their choice, she answers. I'm just making mine. Mr. Reynolds slides one final document across the desk toward her, a freshly drafted civil complaint with Daniel and Lauren's names at the top. Are you ready to file? He asks. Emily looks down at the papers. Her fingers curl around the edge. She doesn't answer with words, but the way she nods tells the audience everything. Subtle foreshadowing. For scene 8. As she steps out of the office, her phone buzzes with a social media notification. Daniel Carter and Lauren Summers updated their status. Married. Music pounds through the lavish reception hall. Guests laugh, clink glasses, and record everything on their phones. Chandeliers sparkle above tables loaded with flowers and expensive wine. At the center of it all, Daniel Carter tugs restlessly at his too-tight collar. His smile is wide, but it doesn't reach his eyes. A faint tension pulls at his jaw. Beside him, Lauren Summers, now in a fitted white dress, diamonds glittering at her neck, radiates carefully curated beauty. But her shoulders are tight. Her eyes move too quickly, scanning faces, gauging reactions. Their wedding happened fast. Too fast. To the guests, they explained it away with phrases like, "We finally realized we were meant to be, and life's too short to wait." They glossed over the fact that Daniel's divorce was barely finalized. They made Emily sound like a sad, distant chapter they'd both been forced to move on from. The truth is simpler. They married quickly because they believed Emily had nothing. No power, no money, no fight left. Tonight, they want to display their fresh start to the world. As the DJ lowers the music for toasts, Daniel taps his knife against his champagne glass. "Thank you all for coming," he calls out, voice amplified by the mic. "Tonight is about new beginnings, about choosing happiness." Lauren laughs, lightly, though her grip on his arm is firm. "Yes, new beginnings," she repeats, "real ones." Some guests cheer, others exchange subtle glances. A few in the room remember Emily, remember seeing her at parties with Daniel, remember the funeral, remember how quickly this new wedding came. As Daniel and Lauren move to the center of the dance floor for their first dance, Daniel leans in and mutters under his breath, "Relax, we did it." She signed. She's gone. We're fine. Lauren's eyes flick up to his. "You don't know that," she whispers. "She never called, never yelled. She just disappeared." He forces a smile, jaw tight. "Because she has nothing left. Trust me." But even as he says it, the camera lingers on Lauren's face. She doesn't truly believe it. The DJ announces, for the first time as husband and wife Daniel and Lauren Carter. The music swells. They begin to dance, moving through the steps they rehearsed. Then the main doors of the Amen reception hall open. Two sharply dressed men enter. Dark suits, professional posture. They don't look like guests. They don't look like servers. They move with the focused confidence of people who belong there for one specific purpose. They hold thick envelopes. Whispers ripple across the room. Phones lower. Eyes track them. The two men walk straight toward the center of the dance floor. Daniel slows, confused. "Can I help you?" he asks, irritation creeping into his voice. One of the men speaks clearly. "Daniel Carter?" Daniel nods, still half holding Lauren. The man hands him a thick envelope. "You've been served with a civil complaint." The room gasps. Lauren stiffens. The second man turns to her. "Lauren Summers?" Lauren's voice cracks. "Yes?" He hands her another envelope. "You've also been served." The music cuts off abruptly. The room falls into a stunned hush. Daniel tears open his envelope with shaking hands. Pages spill out legal language, highlighted lines, evidence lists. Lauren does the same, fingers trembling so hard the papers rattle. Daniel's eyes race across the first page. "Plaintiff, Emily Carter," he reads under his breath. His throat tightens. He flips through the next pages and reads snippets out loud, losing control. Count 1. Fraud and misrepresentation in use of joint assets. Count 2. Unauthorized access and misuse of financial instruments. Count 3. Misappropriation of confidential business information belonging to the Carter family holdings. Count 4. Intentional infliction of emotional distress. His voice cracks on the last words. Lauren reads her copy, her face draining as she sees her own name, repeatedly listed as co-defendant. There are screenshots of messages, summaries of investigator reports, bank records, loan documents, all neatly organized, all sourced. Their betrayal has been printed and bound. Guests whisper louder now. "Is that Emily's name? Did she sue them? I thought she was broke." Lauren turns to Daniel, panicked. "You said she had nothing. You said there was no money, no company. You said it was just a small business." Before he can respond, the doors open again. Emily steps inside. She stands in the doorway wearing a simple black dress, elegant, calm, not flashy. Beside her walks Mr. Reynolds, holding another file labeled in bold letters, "Referral packet, potential criminal proceedings." Gasps ripple through the hall. Phones rise again, not out of celebration this time, but out of stunned curiosity. Daniel steps back instinctively. Lauren grips his arm like it's the only solid thing left. Emily's eyes lock onto them. There's no screaming, no tears, only a quiet, steady fire. She walks forward, stops just far enough for everyone to see her clearly, and says in a low, controlled voice that carries through the silent hall, "The storm starts now." Subtle. Foreshadowing for Scene 9. As the camera pulls back, a brief news alert pops up on someone's phone screen in the crowd. High-profile civil case filed by heiress Emily Carter hearing, scheduled in 3 months. The battle has only begun. Months later, Daniel burst through the double doors of the courthouse, flanked by his attorney and pushed forward by security trying to control the crowd. His tie is crooked, his hair is disheveled. Gone is the confident man from sales pitches and wedding videos. Reporters shout questions, microphones thrust forward. "Mr. Carter, is it true your ex-wife now controls a $300 million empire?" "Daniel, how do you respond to the fraud allegations?" "Lauren, did you knowingly use Emily's accounts?" Lauren walks just behind him, sunglasses hiding her eyes, but her shaking hands give her away. Her mascara is already smudged. She wasn't ready for this level of public exposure. They push through the chaos and into the courtroom. Inside, everything is quiet. Emily sits at the plaintiff's table in a tailored black outfit, not flamboyant professional. Her posture is straight. Her hands rest lightly on the table beside a large binder labeled Evidence, Carter v. Carter et al. Beside her is Mr. Reynolds, calm, organized, his notes lined up in neat stacks. Emily doesn't flinch when Daniel enters. She doesn't even look surprised. She simply lifts her eyes, meets his for a brief second, and then looks away as if he's no longer central to the story. The judge enters. Everyone rises. The atmosphere thickens with tension. When everyone sits again, the pacing slows into heavy reflection. Daniel steals glances at Emily, desperate for any sign of the woman who once forgave him for minor mistakes, who used to smooth over the rough edges of his life. He doesn't find her here. Lauren keeps her eyes down. Her lawyer whispers to her about minimizing damage and considering settlement options. Her throat moves as she swallows hard. The judge speaks. We are here today to hear the matter of Emily Carter versus Daniel Carter and Lauren Summers on civil claims including fraud, unauthorized use of financial instruments, misappropriation of confidential business information, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. The list alone makes Daniel close his eyes for a second. Mr. Reynolds stands. Your Honor, the plaintiff will show a clear pattern of financial manipulation and personal exploitation carried out during a period when Miss Carter was emotionally vulnerable and unaware of her legal and financial position. He begins with the bank records. Screens display statements showing transfers from Emily and Daniel's joint accounts into Daniel's personal accounts during the weeks leading up to the divorce filing, larger and more frequent than normal. Then records show payments to hotels, the same hotel where Emily found them. Documents appear, showing the loan taken under Emily's pre-authorized profile time just before the divorce, with funds routed primarily through accounts Daniel controlled. Then come the messages. Projected on the courtroom screens are texts between Daniel and Lauren from months earlier. We just have to wait till she's too drained to argue. One from Daniel reads. She won't fight anything. She hates conflict, Lauren replies. Once the dust settles, we'll be on our own with the money, another says. Lauren lets out a strangled sound, hand flying to her mouth. Those messages, Mr. Reynolds explains, were captured through legally obtained cloud backups and investigator reports initiated by Miss Carter's parents when they first noticed troubling behavior. Emily rises to take the stand. She places her hand on the rail and answers the standard questions. Her voice is soft but steady. I didn't know the true size of my parents' estate, she says. They never used money to control me. They taught me values instead. When they died, I was grieving, and I was still processing my loss when my husband filed for divorce. She glances at Daniel. I did not know he'd already moved most of the money he could access from our joint accounts. I did not understand that he had taken out a loan using my profile. I didn't realize Lauren had been advising him behind my back for over a year. Daniel shifts in his seat, guilt and panic twisting his face. I trusted them, Emily continues. While I was planning funerals, they were planning a future without me, with my resources and my name. She doesn't raise her voice. That makes it worse. The judge listens carefully, expression unreadable. When Emily finishes and returns to her seat, Daniel suddenly stands. Your Honor, he blurts, this has been blown out of proportion. We were confused, overwhelmed. I made mistakes, but I loved Emily. I was just trying to secure yourself a safe and financial cushion in case the small family business turned out to be bigger than you thought? Mr. Reynolds asks, interrupting smoothly. The courtroom murmurs. Daniel's lawyer tries to object, but the damage is done. After hours of testimony, cross-examinations, and evidence review, the judge leans forward. In civil matters like these, he begins, we look at intent, pattern, and impact. The evidence shows that Daniel Carter and Lauren Summers engaged in repeated financial actions that undermined Emily Carter's position during a period of grief and vulnerability. He reads the findings. On the claim of fraud and misrepresentation in use of joint assets liable. On the claim of unauthorized use of financial instruments liable. On the claim of misappropriation of confidential business information liable. On the claim of intentional infliction of emotional distress, liable. With each word, Daniel seems to sink further into his seat. The judge continues. All remaining assets held by Daniel Carter connected to these actions are to be frozen or redirected as restitution to Emily Carter, subject to further accounting. Lauren Summers is jointly liable for the portions where her involvement is documented. Lauren gasps, No, I can't. Her lawyer squeezes her arm, signaling her to stay quiet. Daniel turns to her, voice hoarse. We'll figure this out. Together. For the first time, Lauren looks at him with clarity. I didn't sign up for this, she whispers. I thought you were going to be the one with money, Daniel. I didn't think you'd lose everything. Cliffhanger. Before he can answer, a court officer approaches Daniel with a separate piece of paper. Mr. Carter, the officer says, you are requested to remain available. There has been a preliminary referral from this case file to the district attorney's office for review of potential criminal charges. Emily watches quietly as Daniel reads those words. And in her eyes, there isn't triumph. There's something quieter. A hard-earned peace beginning to take shape. Daniel's stunned face, still holding that paper about possible criminal review, lingers in Emily's mind for a moment as she steps out of the courthouse. Reporters shout, cameras flash, microphones reach toward her like metal hands. Emily, how does it feel to win? Did you know you were an heiress all along? Do you have a message for Daniel and Lauren? She doesn't answer any of them. She walks through the noise as if it's far away, like sound underwater. Her steps are steady. Her face is calm, not cold, not gloating, just done. Every shout behind her sounds smaller with each step she takes. Later that afternoon, Emily stands in her parents' old office. Sunlight filters in through the large window, dust floating gently in the air. The same desk where her father once spread out charts and plans is now covered with fresh documents, neatly arranged, trust paperwork, company reports, and a few new forms she signed earlier. On the top of one stack is a document titled Carter Foundation for Family Businesses. She runs her fingers lightly over the words. She isn't setting it up to prove anything to Daniel or Lauren. It has nothing to do with them anymore. This is for her parents, for what they believed in, for the way they started as a small business and grew into something powerful without ever forgetting their roots. She signs the final line. A quiet sense of rightness settles over her. She locks the office, walks out of the building, and drives to the cemetery. The air is cool. The sky is soft gray with slivers of light pushing through. The world feels strangely still, as if it's pausing with her. She walks slowly between rows of headstones until she reaches the two that mean everything. Richard Carter, Margaret Carter, simple, dignified, just like they lived. Emily kneels and places two, white lilies at the base of the stone. Her fingertips rest on the names. Her voice cracks softly as she speaks. I wish you could see it, she whispers. The company, the foundation, the way everything you build is still standing. I hope I did it right. She swallows. I thought I would break, she admits, when you died. When they betrayed me, when he left. But every time I thought I was done, I heard your voices in my head, telling me to stand up, to protect what matters, to protect myself. A light breeze moves through the trees, brushing her hair back. It feels like an answer. I lost the people who loved me first, but I found the strength they always knew I had. Emily stands slowly. She looks at the lilies one more time, then turns away, not because she's leaving them behind, but because she's finally ready to walk forward. With each step toward her car, her posture straightens. Her face softens but doesn't fall. She isn't pretending to be okay. She is okay. This is not the Emily who signed divorce papers with shaking hands. Not the Emily who drove to a hotel begging to be wrong. Not the Emily who curled into herself on the floor at the sound of bad news. This is the Emily her parents prepared quietly, patiently, for years. The Emily no one saw coming. Final cinematic line, soft as an exhale. They thought they destroyed me, but all they did was free me. She reaches her car. As she opens the door, her phone buzzes with a new notification from an unknown number. She glances at the screen, brows lifting slightly, not afraid this time, just curious. The message preview reads, Miss Carter, we heard about how you handled your family's empire. We have a proposal we'd like you to consider. Subtle foreshadowing hint, Emily smiles faintly not because she needs another fight, but because now, for the first time, she gets to choose which stories she enters and which ones she walks away from. I hope you enjoyed watching it as much as I enjoyed creating it. Like, share, and comment on the lessons you've learned. Let me know where you're watching from in the comments below. See you in my next video.